one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3. Finish.
You view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these 2 words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
free smoke.
Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price. So I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged.
Yo, I gotta tell y'all something real fast, bro. I just saw a picture of this woman. Bro, she battered in a freshly rolled blunt, bro. But that's beside the point, bro. That's neither here nor there. Bro, what is up, bro? Listen, let me stop calling y'all, bro. Some people get offended by that. How is everybody doing today, man? I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not even that I'm tired. I'm trying to boost up a little bit, trying to get some energy going, you know what I'm saying? But a couple days have passed. The NBA Finals, I am going to make a video on that probably tomorrow, especially since it's probably ending tomorrow. But I did not know a game was on Friday. I wasn't going to be able to watch it anyways because I went to go see Transformers. And I'm going to talk about that eventually too. But we are here to talk about Christopher Paul. But before we get into that, how is everybody doing today, man? How dope was the day, bro? Yo, what we get into today? I did that, bro, again, bro. That's on me. I did it again right there. That's on me. But listen. I was partaking in some things, and my lighter went out, and I didn't even trip on it because I had a backup. That's what I'm on now, bro. Maturity. But listen, a lot of things have happened in the association. I like it when people call it the association, because I remember when I used to play, when I was a young buck, before I got great at playing video games online, You know, you got to start somewhere. And when you play online on NBA or 2K, it'd be like the association. I was like, why does John don't say franchise? Again, neither here nor there. But listen to me. Listen to me. We got to talk about Christopher Paul, bro. I don't even know if his full name is Christopher, but let's talk about CP3, man. So news just dropped last week that the Suns would waive. See, this is the confusion. At first, the report was that he was going to be waived. Then the report was they was going to keep him and trade him. Then the report was, nah, they releasing him. So who knows what the report is, but we know he ain't going to be on the Suns next year. That's what we know definitively at this point. So we might as well speculate where could he play next? If he play at all, I don't think he's going to retire. If he was going to retire, I think he would have said that. Plus, I kind of feel like Chris Paul want to go out on his own terms. He don't want to go out because of injuries. Now, we probably done seen athletes chase a perfect ending and it not happen because of injuries. Like I can think of Steve Smith Sr. with the Ravens. But, you know, regardless, I'm going to just take this from the perspective of he playing because I don't think he's going to retire. I think he should retire just for the simple fact. Well, let me not even say I think he should retire. If every season keep ending in injury, I mean, you got to figure something out. And it's hard for me to say you got to figure something out because Chris Paul is in his late 30s now. You ain't figuring nothing out that late in the game. And I hate that all his seasons got to end because of injury, and every single narrative around Chris Paul is, oh, well, he could have done this or his teams could have done this if he wasn't injured or if he wasn't injured. So, you know, it sucked, but that's sports. It just is what it is. I don't feel bad that he got hurt. I just feel bad for that's the narrative around him as far as things go. But same thing pretty much happened this year against the Denver Nuggets, who will probably end up being the NBA champions this year. Chris Paul played, I think, 2 games in that series or a game and a half before going down with a growing pull. And now, you know, well, let's just address if he were to retire. I don't think he's going to retire. If he did retire, he'd go down as one of the better point guards of all time. I know a lot of people don't want to put Chris Paul in their top 5 because of championships and all this other, which I didn't even know this was a thing until recently. Hearing how critical people are Chris Paul, and I'm not really hating on it. I'm just saying because it is a crew or it is a group of people in the media who like to say, well, they give Chris Paul this like caveat of, well, he is a legit point guard, as in he can run an offense and yada yada yada. But I just think with the game evolving, I'm not going to give somebody credit just because they still got a high number of assists. Trae Young get a lot of assists, and he still play like a new age point guard. So I get irritated with that conversation, especially when people start to hit people with the, oh, Curry not a point guard, even though he legitimately done been labeled and played the position of the point guard his entire career. Just because he played one way and Chris Paul played the other does not make him any less of a point guard. Chris Paul cannot score on the level of a Steph Curry. So if we ask Steph Curry to go out there and get me 14 assists rather than go out there and get me 30 points a game, it makes no sense when Steph Curry's points is more of a catalyst to winning than his passing ability. Not to mention his passing ability is null and void when you think about the space he create because of the gravity he create. So to me, I don't like that argument where people say, oh, well, you know, Chris Paul was a legitimate point guard. Nah, I don't care about that. You got to judge somebody's career just based off of the career. It ain't no, oh, well, he played at this. Now, I get if you want to say, well, he played in this era and this. Well, Kobe straddled multiple eras, bro. So I'm not trying to hear all that, to be honest with you. But I don't know if Chris Paul got a lot. I don't think he got as much left in the tank as I did when he went to OKC. When he went to OKC from Houston, I didn't think Chris Paul had lost a step or anything like that. I thought Chris Paul had become the victim of playing in a James Harden, Mike D'Antoni-led Houston offense, which was not conducive to how Chris Paul liked to play basketball. When he got to OKC, he showed you he clearly had a lot left in the tank, and he's been showing you he had a lot left in the tank over the last couple years. The thing with Chris Paul is the injuries. if we could find a way to, and I understand all his failures and shortcomings has not been, I don't really like to even say failures. All his shortcomings in his career have not been just because of injury. I get that. But a lot of them have been due to injury. And so, listen, I don't really know why. Well, if you Phoenix, I do understand getting off of that Chris Paul contract for the simple reason you got off of Monty. So I'd imagine they wouldn't be scared to get off of Chris Paul. But the biggest thing with the getting off of Chris Paul is the money that you free up. On top of that, I would get off of Cam Payne also, in my opinion. I think I'm not even getting into that. But I would just try to now rebuild this entire roster around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. You're going to have them there for a while. So you might as well go ahead and begin to build around them. Now, I don't think I like a system in which Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just play iso ball the whole time and they just throw it out to dudes to try to hit shots. I don't think you end up winning a championship that way. However, I also cannot fault Phoenix for not believing that Chris Paul can make it through an NBA championship type season. Even as productive as what as much as you like what Chris Paul can give you when he's healthy, you just don't bank on him. You cannot bank on him being healthy when it mattered the most. So I get Phoenix moving off of him. So do we think Chris Paul can still play? Do we think Chris Paul got anything left in the tank? Do we think, like I said, I don't think he got in the tank what he had before when he went to OKC, but I do think he still could be on a team and be a good player or still a high level producer. Now, I saw a report today. I don't know if it was true or not that Chris Paul either wanted to go to the Lakers or retire. I don't think that's true. Listen, I've been a Laker fan my whole life. I'm used to all these athletes being attached to LA in some way, type, form, or fashion because all these dudes work in LA for the media and whatnot. But I know the Lakers want to play slow at times in a half court type of offense with LeBron slowing the pace down and whatnot. He an older player. He don't want to run that much. AD, an injury. He get injured a lot, so he don't want to do too much. So I get where Chris Paul could come in, and you would think Chris Paul, as, you know, the floor general, could do a lot of things for you. And I agree he could. However, what happened when all three of these motherfuckers get hurt? What happened when all three of them is dealing with parts of the season where we need wins and you can't get wins because you can't trust that they're going to be on the floor? I don't think that's the recipe for the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers should continue to get older. LeBron going to come off the books in either a year or two, more than likely, or 3. You will probably extend AD at some point in time, but I don't understand getting older in the sense of your top players being the older guys still, as old as Chris Paul is. A team that I would actually think, because now we're finna get into the segment of the video where I tell you where I think Chris Paul should end up. I think personally, Chris Paul should go to Milwaukee. Now, I know that's not a team that Chris Paul probably really want to go to, as far as like he probably don't want to live in Milwaukee. But on a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal that's not going to break the bank for Milwaukee, I could see him being, because I think one of the biggest problems with Milwaukee is, you know, as good as they half-court offense might look at times in the regular season, it's just not a great half-court offense when the playoffs roll around, when you got to rely on Giannis. Now, this was a weird year for them in the sense that Giannis got hurt, but still, you know, too many teams done proven they can figure out ways to slow down the half-court offense for Milwaukee. I think you get so much more out of Giannis and the dudes on that team if you get a legit, and this is no shot at Drew Holiday, but he ain't the point guard that Chris Paul is. I don't even think Drew Holiday is great at really running the show at the level of an elite tier point guard. I think the Giannis clout rubbing off on Drew Holiday got people telling you Drew Holiday way better than people was telling you he was when he was in New Orleans. But listen, I like Drew. I just think Chris Paul slot, even if it's not Chris Paul playing like but 20 minutes a game, I think Chris Paul and the combination of him, Drew, Middleton, if you bring him back, and Giannis could be, because you're going to have to figure out something. Because at some point in time for Milwaukee, Giannis is going to want to be competing for championships every year, but not just wanting to compete for them. He's going to want to realistically be competing for them. At some point in time, Giannis is not going to continue to be this team first, oh, I love the fans type of player. At some point in time, legacy talk gonna get real crazy in the media for Giannis. And Giannis is going to look out there every year at the league, and he gonna say to himself, which teams have a legitimate chance of winning, and can the team that I'm on right now legitimately beat those teams to win a championship? And if we start to get into multiple years where Giannis is looking at this Milwaukee roster saying to himself, this is not a team every year that can compete with the top teams. And let's say he even is foolish enough to say, yeah, we can compete with them, but they keep losing to those teams on a yearly basis. And then the reality set in, yeah, we're not good enough. And he started taking a more critical look at the team. And that's usually around a team where the organization say, oh, we done everything we could. And the fans began to turn on Giannis and say, well, he could have done this, he could have done that. And, you know, it's going to be all of those things. They're going to start bringing up all of Giannis's worst moments and all that crap. But at some point in time, that's going to happen. And Giannis is going to, because Giannis is not going to be a player that's going to be sitting around content with losing and not competing for the biggest prizes in the sport when he feel like he the best player in the game. That's just not going to happen. And so, and the beauty for Giannis is I'm 1-1 in the finals. If I keep getting there and I have a chance to go undefeated in the final, I put myself in a very interesting conversation. But I got to be able to get there. And when I get there, I don't want to just get there because I had to carry a team there. I want to be able to know I have the adequate help around me. And to be honest with you, Milwaukee, like a lot of teams in the East, they go cheap with some of the team. But and I know Milwaukee ain't being cheap in a sense because of what they got on their roster. But you don't go as hard as you could go for certain type of players because you don't want to pay a certain type of price because of where you at and whatever, even though all these dudes is billionaires and they selling out arenas with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But that's neither here nor there. At some point in time, Giannis is going to look at this team. He's going to look at this roster and he's going to say, I need more. I want more, because he's going to hear all the critics on TV, on ESPN, on FS1, on TNT, on Twitter. And that's going to push him to making the decisions that a LeBron made, decisions that a Kevin Durant made, decisions that every champion who have to leave and go. And listen, Giannis done won. And he a champion forever, but that one ring he won is not going to hold him over for the rest of his career. He already done let you know that. And Giannis is a cool dude, bro. Very well-mannered, very respectful, a very well-spoken dude, very nice and friendly to the media. But you got to understand, I hate that he is that way because that's when reporters take advantage of him by asking him dickhead questions. But nonetheless, at some point in time, he ain't going to be that smile. He going to still have it. But he won't be happy about the shit that's going on. And he going to be very vocal and more. You going to know about it more. So why not go get Chris Paul? If it's not on a crazy type deal where you can commit a ton of money to it, why not? Chris Paul would be great for this team. Obviously, the caveat being if he can stay healthy. But I like that fit for him in Milwaukee. I also like the fit for Chris Paul in LA with the Clippers. But I like the fit with him in the Lakers if that were true. The problem being every single player that's of like star caliber on those two teams, injury prone. PG. So you got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. All of those dudes right now in this part of their careers have continuously been hurt. 80 is not even, I think 80 just, he 30 right now. All the other ones I named is later into their years. Kawhi and Paul George obviously not being as old as LeBron and Chris Paul, but starting to get there. And all of them, Kawhi being the most notorious one, all of them consistently get hurt. And that's not me, I'm not saying that in a negative way because I hate it when people go at Kawhi Leonard. Because I truly believe Kawhi Leonard would be out there on the floor if he could. It's just his body will not allow him to do certain shit. Like, I truly learned that this year. Like, after seeing how hard Kawhi went in those first two games against Phoenix, and for him not to play another game, bro, you cannot tell me that man's body just, it's tragic, really. That's what it is. It's tragic. But I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Paul on those two teams. I just don't know if it would work because you got to rely on injuries. I mean, guys staying healthy. LeBron in the later part of his career. Paul George done started getting injured more frequently in this part of his career. AD done been an injury concern for the majority of his career. Chris Paul himself has been an injury problem for the majority of his career and for the last couple years. So I don't really want to see that because you don't want to see any of them dudes have to rely on the other one too much because you don't want injury to happen. With the Bucks, Giannis is a dude who's going to be playing. You know, he had that injury in the playoffs this year, but for the most part, Giannis is on the court nearly every night. Now, I'm not going to suggest Chris Paul in no backup roles. I know a lot of psychos out there would like to say, oh, well, you know, if Chris Paul could come be a backup on this team, he would be. I'm not going to do that to CP. I think Chris Paul would probably retire before he accepted coming off the bench as a backup on a consistent basis. But the one big team that I see that's and this is if he want to go compete for a championship, is the Bucks. That would be my number one team for them. And I think this is a move that the Bucks could do that wouldn't cost them too much, wouldn't, you know, be nothing crazy. And if he got hurt, for one, I think the Bucks need to start to reconstruct this roster anyways, but this is a great start to getting the most out of what you have right now if you're not going to go out and make a wholesale rebuild on the roster. Because Chris Paul can do a lot for this team. He could get easy buckets for a lot of different players on the team, especially Giannis, because if he can, obviously this ain't the Chris Paul that played with DeAndre and Blake Griffin, but man, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a special talent. So I would be very interested in that. Not so much with the Clippers and the Lakers for the simple reason I just can't get past the injuries possibilities. But and one other team that I could see, well, two really, that I could see him going to, one more so than the other, one being the Pelicans. I could see him going back to New Orleans with that team because that's a team that I think could use Chris Paul also. I just don't think he would have the ball in his hand as much because B.I. want the ball in his hand. And the Charlotte Hornets back in North Carolina where he, but he don't even live in North Carolina no more. I'm pretty sure he live in California. So that was just my thoughts on that. Listen, that's the show. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. I appreciate y'all for tuning in today. I really do. I really do. Like, subscribe, share. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. You could be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. They could use that kindness. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.